went downtown LA to the Grand Central Market. What a good time we had. Highly, if you haven't been there, I recommend it. Okay, you're being recorded.
Okay, go ahead and start. I think you're teaching masking today.
Well, we're going to do Steve and I are going to co-work on how to do portrait or post-process portraits. So masking is part of that, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And share screen. Give me, let me share my screen.
There you go.
Oh. All right. So I put the link to this site up on our Facebook page, and it's just a quick sort of review or step-by-step process for how do you make your portraits look a little bit better than they do coming straight out of the camera. What we plan to do is just go over this step-by-step process here, and then I'll open up my Lightroom page and review some of the steps in the first part, and then turn it over to Steve, and he'll share his page and show you what he does with the masking tool to add a little bit more light to the subject. So in the first part, this lady says import the photo from your camera, however you're going to do it. And then this step here about sharpening, I'll go over that, but she does a preset, which I think we should probably do in later training modules. But this preset comes in and it adjusts the sharpness and stuff. And I'll go over that briefly when I do my little demo. The second thing to do is adjust the white balance. And what this does is lightens or darkens the image with color. And it's how the sensor looked at the color. And the white balance is in this area here. And we'll show you again how that changes as you make customized adjustments. And then the following step is adjust exposure, highlights, and shadows. And again, this should all be coming familiar. It is for me, certainly. These are the basic tools in the Lightroom toolbar. And so I'll demonstrate that. Vibrance and saturation adjustments. This is just how the colors appear, either very vivid or very light and opaque. And then the last step I'll do is cropping the image. And we'll go over why we should crop it, what to look for, what to emphasize. Do we have cutoffs in the picture that we need to be aware of, and make the picture balanced? And then Steve is going to look at working with the masking tool, and he's going to show us about applying masks and AI and fixing, maybe make the skin a little softer, taking out some blemishes in that area. And then he's going to fine tune some of the adjustments. And this is all going to be done by Steve, so I'll let him talk about it, but can make changes to the eyes, eyebrows, mouth, nostrils, maybe ears if there are any showing. Talk about brightening up the eyes, adjusting the irises, and then add color to the mouth, how to brighten up the lip color. And then last but not least, brighten up the teeth and the hair, just to give the overall change. But all those are using the masking tool.
Yeah, Kevin, you might want to point out that seeing those lips and red and eyes, that's not what you've changed it to. That's a masking. That shows where you work, the area you're working on. It's an overlay,
Oh, okay. Yeah, good.
an
Good
overlay
point,
to
good
tell you
point.
what you've selected to work on. Okay.
Very good point. So that's an overview, of just what we're going to work on today. Oops. So we've decided to work with this portrait that Amy shared us. And again, I've already imported it into my Lightroom. The library and the develop module here at the top are the same because I only have one picture that I imported. So in the development module, what this lady suggests we do first is this sharpening issue where it's this module here called detail, but the sharpening, if I start to sharpen things, I can hold down an option button and look at the masking. And this is going to determine what lines kind of in the photograph are going to get sharpened. And then from there, you can adjust these other details. Very, very slight adjustments, but it's going to highlight these things. Again, with noise reduction, you can make changes in the color. Very, very slight. I don't know if you can even see it. I can on my screen here, but anyway, this is the area. It's down the toolbar that she suggests you work with.
Question.
Yes.
What did you do to get the black and white part of it? You held down some key or?
The
Black
masking.
and
The
You
ma-
got into, didn't you hit option in the detail, Kevin, to make that go black and white? You could see just the lines.
I'm sorry. Yes. Yes, I'm sorry.
Go back, just hit that again.
Okay,
Just-
yeah. On my Apple, the key on the keyboard called Options, if I hit that and then click on the slider for masking at the same time,
Okay, I don't
It
have
will-
that key.
it will show up on as the details. So
Alan, you can Google your computer to see which key that would be. Sometimes it's a shift key or I don't know, it depends on what kind of computer. That's why Kevin was saying with his Apple, it was, so you'll just have to Google that and see which key works for you.
Okay.
It's probably the Alt key on a
Alt.
PC. ALT.
Mhm,
And that did, at least what I can see here, it did sharpen the image.
mhm.
Okay,
But you're using a Lightroom that was issued before the Spanish-American War,
right,
and it may not have that option.
okay.
I hope nobody's insulted by me sometime. If not, I can step it up.
Okay,
okay, so when you're dealing with a JPEG file like this and you want to do this white balance, this is the area that we're talking about, and also raw pictures. But the number of options that you get with a JPEG is either as shot, which is straight out of the camera, or auto. See the change that it made there?
Mhm.
Kind of lightened everything up.
Yeah.
Or you can do custom. The custom part is these two sliders here. The tint, see how I'm darkening everything? It gets real
Mhm.
yellow,
Yeah.
or it gets blue.
Uh-huh.
And the tint kind of goes to magenta or over to green.
And do you use the custom or the auto?
In my work, I use the as shot primarily because I am changing the white balance in my camera.
Okay,
I will go to a shade or cloudy or bright sunshine, or sometimes I will use auto. That's about 50% of the time I'm using auto white balance, just
Yeah,
because
Alan?
I'm going, yeah.
Go, well, go to auto. If you don't like it, go to custom.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, you can change it around. And once you start making sliders, it just automatically goes to custom. As soon as you move a slider,
Right.
it will be custom.
Okay,
And you can double click on the caret there and it will go back to 0. Okay, now double click on the caret, Okay, well, there too, yeah. It'll reset.
So with that, then the next thing that they were doing, you go to my notes here, is doing these functions here for exposure, contrast, highlights.
Kevin, before you go on, go ahead and color correct it. So when you got that step completed before you go to the next step. You had it, she's too yellow, don't you think?
Yes.
Yeah, so color correct her up so you get that step done before you go to the next step, so we can see how it progresses.
So move the temperature to the left a little bit.
Yeah, temperature.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Right there.
Does
Yeah, I think-
everybody understand what we mean by color temperature? Don't be afraid to say no.
Right, now's the time to now's the time to say go over it again.
Go
Okay.
over it again.
Okay.
I'm confused. What do you want me to do?
Describe color temperature. So, Anthony,
Oh.
was it Anthony? Okay.
Yes,
So
it was
the
me.
temperature goes cool to warm. Do you see the slider? It says temperature. If you go to, you
Yes.
can go to the
Uh-huh.
blue, or you can go. And
Yes.
so we've talked about Kelvin degrees of different lighting of, the higher the number, the more yellow it goes. And then 55, 100 was daylight. We're trying to get it as close to daylight coloring as we can. And so the way I shot this, it came out very yellow. She looks jaundice. And so Kevin's going to put that little slider where he's got it now to add a little blue to it so she doesn't look so sick.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Does that explain temperature to you?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, Kevin.
So then changing the things like exposure, highlights, and shadows. And again, the exposure slider will just allow more light to show through. And if you can see over at the very top where that histogram is,
Mhm.
as I move my slider to the right, there's a triangle that pops up in the upper right-hand corner of that colored histogram.
Mhm.
Or it gets too dark and it pops up in the lower left, the upper left. So at some point, I'm going to like what I see.
Right.
And then contrast works the same way. You get more contrast, the less contrast. Everything kind of gets fuzzy together. And the highlights is really taking out the white part, if you will, the peaking area. And Steve, one of his favorite things is to move the highlights to the left and take away the shadows.
Yep.
And see how that, see, like she got real dark because, you know, the shadows are being overrepresented there. They're kind of overpowering everything. And as I move it to the right, take away all the shadows, her hair gets bright brown and stuff. So we'll slide those shadows over. Then,
Wait a minute. I am guilty as charged, but I put it at minus 100 for highlights, plus 100 for shadows, and then I bring them back towards center to see what looks best. Does that
okay.
make sense? I like
Yeah.
that. That's just my way. Oh,
And then this deals with all things that are white, everything that's white in the picture. You can take it all out, or that just brings it all way out. So, and black's the same way. This reduces the impact that that particular color has. It's just kind of taken over the picture.
Okay, now just for fun, Kevin, go ahead and zero all of those out from exposure to contrast and start getting them where you want them.
Start getting where I want them.
This is all a matter of taste. There's no right or wrong here, everybody. This is just what your taste is and how you want that photograph to go. So let's put everything back. I think your temperature is fine, Kevin, but I would go back, I would go to exposure and down content, and I would zero all of those out for us so we can start going one at a
Oh,
time.
you want, as a group? You want to do it as a group?
Yeah.
Okay.
Looks good like that.
Does anyone feel that it's overexposed or underexposed?
Over.
No,
It's a little over.
It's
Okay,
over.
so slide it to the left a little bit. Is anybody happy there?
Better.
that's a good start, I think.
All right, let's go down to contrast then. And just see if you go back and forth. If you like it, you may leave it at 0.
there. I like that.
I think,
a little minus looks good in my opinion, but
Right.
okay.
what does everyone else think? What does Barbara think?
The first one, exposure, I liked it right at 0,
Okay.
but that's okay. That's just my taste. But that looks good.
Okay. And no highlights?
Well, I'm going to do Steve's trick. I'm going to go all the way to the left and come back.
Well, no, you have to do the other first. Put one you have to start with both of them, left and right and left,
Oh, okay.
and then work it, kind of get the balance between the two.
Mhm.
At least that's the way I would do it. Okay.
More shadows, more shadows, more shadows. Anybody tell me to stop?
Yeah, no, I think,
Mhm.
stop.
Sorry.
Go a little lower in the shadows for me. You're at 58, try 40 or something.
Yeah, that looks good.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Then the whites and blacks, you know what? I kind of tend to leave those alone unless these the histogram is blown out, and then I can adjust that by reducing the white or the black.
I'm on my cell phone, so I can't see
Yeah.
the histogram. What do you have total blacks represented at all?
No, not really.
Okay, just slide it so the blacks all of a sudden are represented. Like you can,
You know, when I slide it over, it's at +1, now it's at -2,
Okay.
and the little triangle popped up.
okay, as soon as that triangle pops up, I like it when I go to print it, to have a true black in there somewhere, and then we
Oh,
know
okay.
there's a true black, yeah.
And
Okay.
then what? Okay, I'm sorry. As soon as you're done, I want to say something about that.
I'm done.
Okay, now that you've got the blacks, I would look at your histogram and move the whites till you just starting to get that to pop up. That may not work for this picture, but it's,
Oh, that's,
oh, you went just a little too far.
Keep going to the left, Kevin, just, no, not the other way. Yeah. Okay, so just where you see that little tail of I can see the histogram now, little tail of that histogram where it just sort of gets over into that, almost that last little part. Keep going a little bit more, drag a little bit more, a little bit more.
That's
I would stop there.
Yeah. Try holding down the Option key and sliding that white.
oops.
See, it's just going to show you what in the picture is going to have the luminance that you're selecting with that whites. So that's what you just
Yeah.
saw is if you just got, well, you'd have to go, yeah, like Amy said, maybe +40. No, the other way. Till you just barely, it's almost the same thing Amy said, just barely touch it. Okay,
There,
that's fine. That's fine.
that's good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
All right, what's the next step?
Then after that, we're going to crop the image.
Mhm.
Now, I'm sure this was all added after this presentation was made, but there's a whole block here that deals with clarity, dehaze, vibrance, and saturation that I would like to interject here. The texture is something that can be done to sharpen up the picture, and I can slide back and forth. And again, the highlight thing will come out. Clarity, you're bringing out a lot of stuff in there that's hidden under the black. And not so much in these portraits, but I know in landscapes, this dehaze plays a big role for me.
Right. I think our saturation is pretty true. I think the more you do go to dehaze and it gets her hair kind of funky. And I would go a little bit more on the darker side I wouldn't be using dehaze in this one for me.
Yeah, I just showed what that was. I do use it in the outside photography.
Yes, I do too.
And then, so the next step that she described was cropping. And here, if you don't mind, Amy, could you coach us through this cropping because you've done so many of these?
You know what? I'm not sure this is one I would do so much cropping on. I want her elbows to be in it.
Okay.
And
I mean, just describe what features you look for when you crop. What's important about
right. Okay.
your subject material.
When I'm cropping, I want it to feel balanced.
Okay.
I want, it's very important where you crop hands and elbows, because let's for fun, Kevin, crop and go so you only see about 6 inches of her arm, her wrist, and you know where that third, yeah, go way up there. Okay. And then, yeah, so let's take it away now and just see what it looks like cropped. So get rid of your, say, okay. And
No,
no, it does.
She looks like she has monster hands. Hands
Yeah.
are awful.
Yes, and you can't see that she's got really nice elongated arms, and
Right.
it's a very odd crop. It is not, it's not graceful. And so that's where I kind of shot it the way I wanted this one cropped. All right, so this is, if somebody is, okay, her head is tilted to the left, so I try to give a little more airspace that direction. On the right side, it's very straight up and down, so I didn't have to give as much airspace. But on the left side, I gave more relief because her head is tilted that way, and that's where the energy is going. So I just wanted to give it more space.
Oh, up in here, you mean?
Yeah. And on a portrait like that, I figure they're probably going to frame it. And I tried to give them space in my portrait to be able to pop it in a frame and still have airspace. So I give clients a little more playroom on a portrait like this.
Oh, so the frame hangs over a little bit. It's not going to cut anything off.
Right. Right.
Perfect. All right.
Most of the time you do need to crop way in, but not on this one.
Okay. Okay. So that's all for my portion. Steve, you want to take over? I'll stop sharing.
Okay. Let me get to Lightroom. Now, I obviously don't have exactly what Kevin did, so I'm going to go real fast down to where we were. And Kevin can remind me of the steps.
Yeah, I'll say the steps. The next one is soften the skin using a masking tool.
Oh, where did my, hang on. Okay. Here we go. This is the original. And so just briefly, again, maybe kind of reviewing.
Go to develop.
Yeah, we'll go to develop. And we want to start with the basics. And now it's obviously in color. White balance, we want to go slightly this way. And I think we were about here, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so.
Or auto. Auto's not too bad. Exposure we can bring down. Well, mine was already preset on this highlight, so let's bring this back a little bit. This. Tell me when I'm close to where Kevin was. Let's see. Whites. Let's see, we wanted to make sure we had some blacks. Okay, that's pretty much where we were.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin was, I would say.
Uh-huh.
I agree
That's
with
close
Amy on how this is cropped, but I'm going to crop it because just to have slightly different. So in this case, I'm going to take a little off the top and a little off the bottom, or the opposite of what I said. And I agree this needs space over here. So, but I can get her eye, look at that, lined up.
Yep, that's good. That's very nice.
And I could go into Photoshop and add space on this side if I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're into, and when he talked about texture, I think if you're doing a portrait, especially a woman, you kind of want to smooth out the face. So you kind of go this direction. You get to smooth out the face, dehaze.
And let me stop you there for a minute. The face smoothing and stuff, this lady suggested doing that with the mask.
Oh, okay,
So what you're doing now is the overall picture.
sure. All right, I'll stop
And what
there.
you're going to do next is use the masking tool just to smooth out the face.
Yeah. Now,
Just to
I
bring you
didn't
back
talk
here.
about tone curve, and we can just go linear. Tell me what you like best. I don't think that was available back then. Medium, and I know you're not going to like strong.
No,
So should maybe with her we go linear or moderate? Okay. So now we're into now we want to talk about using the masking tools, this wheel here.
Mhm.
And there's right underneath the histogram, there's this little well-hidden thing, says original photo. You can click on that. Oh, I didn't build this, forget that. If I had a smart preview, I could do that. So now I'm going to collect this because this is the new way to get to the brush, linear gradient, subject, sky. And so we want to select, if we select subject, it's going to be everything that's her. And whatever we do would affect the whole image. But we don't want to do that. We want to select people. And it's it'll come up a little slowly here, person 1. And then I can select face skin. Okay, so I've created this mask. Now I can have this different colors.
It's fine.
Okay. I use green, that lady was using red. So now any adjustments we make will just be on her face. So exposure. See? So, and I think we were pretty close there.
that's it.
Contrast. Well, I don't know this person, so where do you I think the same thing.
I think she's too dark. I think he was pretty good before he started, but for what her
Okay, which should I go too far on?
I know you're going to India, but get rid of that spot on her forehead.
Yeah.
Here, I can unclick show overlay. Okay, so there we are. What do you think? Our portrait expert, what do you think we should do?
well, I don't know. I'm working on my phone. It just I think she's got too many blacks in her face. She's gotten very dark, like on the sides of her mouth next to her teeth. They're very, very dark. So let's lighten her face up, because now the skin tone between her hand and her face is like way off.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay,
And maybe adjust the shadows slider.
Yeah, or just go back to original before you started masking.
okay. Okay. Okay, this is where we started. Okay. Now I select people, and I'm going to start with
No, okay, lighten her face then. Go back to her face and lighten it.
oops. Okay, now
No, not that way.
why am I not getting the oh, here we go. Exposure, you want it lighter?
Yeah. Even
Okay.
Oh,
say when,
Too far, too far.
yeah,
Go back there.
that's-
right there,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
and bring down the contrast,
Yeah.
okay? And bring the highlights up a little bit. Once we do that, I think we can pull down the exposure again a little bit.
Yeah.
This seems to be fine right in the center.
No, she went dark again.
Yeah, her
You
face.
did?
Yeah.
The difference between the color of the arms and her face is very telling.
Getting
Yeah.
better. Whoops.
Now see, her hand won't have as much color because she's pressing into it. And when you press into flesh, it lightens it. If you back up, let's take a look at her arms.
Well, we can just do her arms separately.
Okay. Well,
Uh,
I think this is okay. Let's go from here.
Well, body skin. There we go. See?
Yeah.
Body skin. Get this down here. Mask. Okay, the body skin is, first of all, it's a color temperature issue, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There,
Yeah.
that's
Whoa.
much better.
Oh my gosh. She's an avatar.
Yeah. Bugs Bunny. Boy, that's tough to, her hand coloring is difficult to deal with. My
And
goodness.
like I said,
Stop right there.
go with her arms and not her hand, because her hand is not as much flesh and she's pressing into it, which will make it much lighter. So we're really
Okay.
trying to look at those arms.
Okay, look at her arms. How's that?
That's good.
Yeah, there's still some funky color coming from her wrist down. It's kind of a green.
Mm.
I don't know, lighten her arms, just
Like,
lighten exposure,
yeah.
other way.
That's no good.
Get more exposure. Increase exposure.
Okay, okay,
Here.
There, that's
Oh.
not bad, right? It's very fine.
okay,
Just a. There's
There.
a very fine
There.
point.
there,
Right,
we're
right
good.
about there is not
Uh-huh.
bad.
Right.
We found it.
Almost good.
We have gold.
Zero.
Well, so that's body skin. Let's face skin, body skin. You want to do
The
her
next was
eyebrows?
brighten the eyes.
Oh, eyes,
So-
okay. Eyes. Whoops, I'm sorry. All right, let's just make these. No, I think her eyebrows are fine.
Good.
Let's get up here and
And I think her teeth are fine.
yeah, her teeth
The
are, we
rule
don't
of-
want to make them any whiter.
In portraiture, there's something you want to think about. You want the white of the eyes to be about the same value as the teeth.
Mm.
If you get your teeth too bright, they'll look like fake white teeth, like they're crazy. And if you do and then it makes the eyes look really dark. So if you kind of match them, it will look more real and just healthy and nice. Do you see the whites of her eyes are too way? And now she looks like the devil. Oh my Lord.
Right there.
Okay,
So I think right about here, just
Yeah.
right,
first we started, maybe
Right.
right about there.
yeah.
Okay, and we can also, if we want, change the center of her eyes, the pupil.
Oh,
Select people, and they call that iris and pupil.
Ah,
And
wow.
Wow.
no,
I think
that
that's
makes-
Red.
just slightly this direction, right? Of course, we can also change the hue of them,
Murdered.
but let's not do that. I think that's not bad. This is starting
Okay.
to look pretty good. We don't want to do her teeth.
no.
So the next step after color the mouth and whiten the teeth is the hair and background.
Oh, okay.
and they said to
let's do the hair.
lighten both.
Let's do the hair. I think the hair. It's got a lot of hair. Okay. See, we can, I think just a little bit there is good. I mean,
Just a little bit. Yep.
I just want go to the
Just-
extreme to let you know what you're doing.
I'd go darker,
Yeah.
darker,
Oh, dark.
darker. Just so where you get a little bit of the top, like a relief from the background. I'd go
Yeah.
a little darker.
You think so?
Yeah.
That's it.
By removing some of the shadow.
The shadow this way or this.
You'll lose some of the depth, Kevin, if you start doing the shadows in the hair.
Okay.
You want it to look three-dimensional and you want it to look like a texture, and hers is soft, just soft and plain. So
Oh, yeah.
there.
How's that? That looks pretty good,
That's
I
good.
think.
That's good.
That's good. Now, in this case, the background is already black. So, but we could, since we're playing with things, we can select background. I said select background. Listen to me, Siri. Well, there we go. Okay. Oh, I got it. Okay. Now this is the background, but I'm going to subtract using the brush. I'm going to subtract from this part down here. We want to leave this alone, right?
Okay.
Okay. And then what we could do then is just make, I should have, I didn't quite get it right, but you see what I mean when I select this part.
Yeah.
But so is that, I think getting rid of this part of the background would be good. We could do that with a brush. We can select objects, go and just let it pick it, let it find it. It's come on. Maybe that's too small an area.
Show the overlay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay, there we go.
There we go.
Got it. So, now one thing they don't talk about is color grading. Now this will be the whole picture. And I usually do this last, and I usually more concerned about the midtones, which is this. So obviously you can kind of go around the circle here and see what happens. And I kind of favor just slightly there. And you can, so you can brighten the midtones, which gives it a little more pop, but I think we've already got that. I think we're okay here. Can always look at the others. So in this picture, I don't think there's really a lot here to do with it.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Does that pretty much finalizes the steps?
well, we always want to do.
Yes, that is the end of the lecture as we know it,
All right.
or as presented. Now, obviously, the effects and everything that can be done nowadays is exponential, like we pointed out. But and Steve's looking at the vignetting, and that
Yeah, I would.
probably won't do anything with this, but
I always do a vignette on a portrait. It's just, well, always like 98% of the time. Steve,
Yeah.
why don't you save this and we can look at them together, the before and after.
Okay. Okay.
what was that keyboard thing we looked at? Was it H or something?
This is This is what we started out with, and this is where we finished.
We started, must have been, she was a lot more yellow when we started.
Yeah, somehow, you're right. I can fix that. I can go to this one, develop, and pick the other one. Sorry.
Wasn't there a way on the develop you could hit the original photo?
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go all the way down here
Well,
to,
right underneath the histogram, what was that?
well, that only works if you have a smart preview, which I did not build one
Oh,
for this.
I'm sorry.
But that is a good thing to use. Now we got them both selected, and now we're cooking with gas. There's where we started, and there's where we're at.
Why is it so yellow?
Even though I think we kind of, only if we point it out, do the hand thing stand out, but I don't think it's that bad now.
No, I think it's fine. When I shot this, and this might have been my test or something when it's my daughter, and she gives me like 3 minutes to shoot. And so I probably just shot just without doing anything in my camera for a color balance. And it was just what the JPEG that came out of my camera. That's why it's so yellow.
Oh, I see.
The fabric, I love that fabric. It's like a tapestry fabric. And it always, man, it just throws so much yellow into my subjects. I had to quit using it because I love the way it looks, but it just made things yellow too. That wasn't the whole explanation for it being so yellow, but it was just like, just go shoot before I could balance anything. Very good.
Mhm.
Good explanation, you guys.
Very nice.
Very good.
Good
Thank you.
job.
Mhm.
Good job.
Yeah, thanks, Amy, for your input.
You're
Thanks,
welcome.
Steve. I'm
Yeah.
learning a lot putting these together. Gonna throw out a little incentive for the rest of the group to
Sure.
work with Steve and Amy and put one of these together for something, either shooting your camera or doing some post-processing. And I'm learning a tremendous amount by doing this. So
Good. Now, next week, I'm going to do a lecture on how important the highlights are in eyes.
good.
It's going to be like magic. You're going to go, what? I didn't know.
Okay.
You can
And before
also
we
tell
close,
a lot about.
I found something out this week. I posted it on the website about my iPhone. I was unaware that you could adjust the f-stop when you're using your
It's
iPhone.
fun. Yes, you can. It's a fun one.
Unbelievable.
It's like, wow.
I mean, it's like a daily or weekly info input here. But anyway,
All right.
Nice.
Okay.
thank you, everyone.
Steve,
Okay,
can
Thank
good
you.
job.
Thank
Wait,
you. Very
wait,
good
wait.
job.
Good
Before you
trip.
go, Steve, can you stop the recording?
Oh,